Welcome to another episode of XA Talk Show. Today is 2021, April 20th. And today we are going to continue our journey yesterday doing Emacs Lisp. We are going to look at the source code of Helm mod and see how it implements fuzzy matching, okay? So that is what we are going to do. So it's going to be very technical. It's all about Emacs Lisp code. It's probably going to be boring unless you want to, if you are already a Emacs Lisp programmer, and also if you want to see kind of actual real life workflow of coding Emacs Lisp. So otherwise, it's probably going to be boring for you. So I'm going to go pretty fast. And if you have questions about Emacs related to what I'm doing, just post in the comments. Okay. So on the left window, the pink window is all my Emacs commands I call, such as moving cursor down, up, or by paragraph and so on, or delete, or undo. And you can also see the keystrokes, and I'm using XA keys, and I'm using a Vorak keyboard. Okay, let me begin then. Okay, video good, audio good, check. So let's begin. Let's begin to code this. Okay, so last time, what's going on? Okay, hold on a second. So show, this is today's talk show. So let me show you. So last time we did, so there's two episodes, yesterday and the day before. So we wrote this function, select choices. When you call it, it has a bunch of predefined sentences. These are academic phrases. Potentially there are thousands of them. So here's just a short example. So when you call this command, you can type a few characters. Then it will narrow down, the sentence you want. Speed up writing academic papers. So here is one simple implementation. Very simple, just 10 lines. So you can see. So if we call it, so I'm gonna evaluate it, call it, select choices, enter, then you can see I have several choices. So if I type, for example, if I type let's say EEO. Okay, so there's a lot of sentences that matches this. So I'm looking at this one, EEOE. Let's type another E. Okay, and let's type P. So it narrows down. So narrow down. So I press enter, and it inserts that sentence. Now this fuzzy matching is based on I do. So I do completing read, which is a character-based fuzzy matching. That is, whatever you type, it's considered a sequence of characters. Now in order, okay, ordered sequence of characters, and if any of these candidate sentences contains that sequence of characters in order, then that's a potential candidate. So this is iDo's version of fuzzy matching. But however, Helm is using a different way. It's a word-based fuzzy matching, and order does not matter. For example, we can call helm mx, okay? Call helm mx, enter. So we got a bunch of candidates for Emacs commands, and as we define. So one of our command is select choices. We just defined. So we can type. For example, if we type SC, okay, the first character of each word, SC, then you don't see, then it eliminates this candidate because Helm's fuzzy matching is based on words. So this command name does not contain the word SC. So that doesn't work. Okay, so but it's word based. Okay, but so try it again. Helm meta x. So if we type if we type choices, you see, now we actually got what we want. Now we type choices, then we type space, then we type select, SEL. Again, so you see, enter. So now it calls our command. Now I can make a choice, type to make a choice. So Helm's fuzzy matching is word-based, and order does not matter. Now, our job today is to continue to look at the Helm source code to see how it is done. And so that at the end, we want to modify our code to use Helm's fuzzy matching system if we are successful. Okay, so here, so we start from where we left off yesterday. So we trace the core stack, we trace the function helm mx. We look at the source code, and helm mx turns out calls helm mx read extended command to do the job. Then that in turn calls helm to do the job. It's called like that. And that in turn calls helm internal to do the job. And the helm internal has this syntax. Okay. Then at that point, it seems to, it calls helm read from mini buffer. But from what I know, since we looked at yesterday, it also sets up a bunch of variables variables that contains information about what's the current state, like what is the current string user has typed, and what is the current pattern and current choices, narrow down choices. I think that's how it works. So I don't know yet. So that's where we were yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to continue. Okay, so this is mostly just me working on this. It's gonna, I suspect it's going to be long, for an hour or more. Tedious job. Okay, so I mean, we are looking at the Emacs source code to, so first of all, okay, let's describe function helm from mini buffer. Let's go to the source code. Okay, now let's look at the Helm's package structure. Okay, so you see, so Helm has a package called, a directory called helm core, and it contains, let's see, basically we can ignore the first two because those are auto-created package info. So the main code is 1, 2, 3, 4 files, and the primary one is the helm.el. So we open helm.el, and that is 7,000 lines of code. And yesterday we looked at all the functions in it. So we call describe matching, list matching lines, type define, and you see it returns 290 functions. And we looked at this. So we have yesterday we got an idea of what are these functions are. This is a helm core, okay, helm core, and part of it, let's see where, part of it contains the fuzzy matching. We determined part of it. Many of these functions are related to fuzzy matching. So you see, starting here. So helm fuzzy matching, maybe something, helm fuzzy match, helm fuzzy search, helm score candidate for pattern, and so on. There are like 15 or 10 or 15 functions related to matching string. So anyway, I'm giving you, I'm trying to to know the structure of Helm at this moment. So you have Helm core directory, but actually there's more. So we go up one directory. You can see Helm. That's the, okay, so that's the Helm core. So Helm core is this one. So in fact, there is another directory just named Helm. So Helm, the package Helm apparently, contains two directories. One is Helm core, which I suppose is the heart of the engine, Helm, fuzzy matching engine. Then you have the Helm directory, which contains, let's see, Helm adaptive, Helm autoload, Helm bookmark, Helm buffers, Helm color, Helm commit, Helm command, Helm config, Helm dab abbrev, Helm easy menu, Helm elisp. So I suppose so these are commands for various, for example, if you want to open a file, or if you want to open a, call Helm to, if you want to call an external command, or if you are in Emacs Lisp shell, you want to call some elisp shell functions, or if you are, and some of them create menus. So these are a bunch of commands, and that user actually call Helm. So I imagine these commands, contained in these files, they ultimately will call some function in Helm core to do the work. Okay, so I haven't looked at these. What are these? So there's also Helm semantic. So what the hell is Helm semantic? Author Danielle Hackney. Okay, I know. So these people are developers of Helm. Okay, so now I'm going to put on my eye patch, because I have a little bit cross-eye. So since I was young, so I put an eye patch. I'm wearing two glasses because one is nearsightedness, one is the old age, reading glasses. I need to get better glasses. So okay, so back to the structure of Helm. Two directories, okay? Two directories. One is Helm core, and one is a bunch of Helm commands and utilities and stuff. So what is Helm semantic? Just for curiosity, let's see. Requires semantic. Okay, I don't know what package is semantic. Helm help, Helm iMenu. Is there a documentation? No. Now, so I'm also wondering if there is a documentation for programmers for Helm, for people who wants to, contribute to Helm. So, we are just, this is part of the process of studying, the source code. So if I, it's always a gamble which direction you go. If I spend the next 10 minutes to search for the documentation, whether if there's one for programmers, then maybe it's a dead end, maybe not. So it's, you don't know. So anyway, let's look at Helm core. Okay, so Helm core, and this is the main file. So what are the others? So Helm core, this is the engine, helm.el, then helm-lib. I'm not sure what's in helm-lib. So it's coded by Theory Volpiato, Italian or something. Okay, so there is no documentation for programmers. Okay, commentary. All Helm functions that don't require specific Helm code should go here. Okay, so this file, helm-lib.el, is all Helm functions that don't require specific Helm code. Okay, it doesn't require specific Helm code in helm.el, I suppose. Okay, so let's see. Declare functions, ANSI color, declare functions. And define var. Okay, Helm sources. Now sources mean just a list of candidates. Helm initial frame, Helm current position, Helm right diode old marks. Okay, Helm has Helm is trying to change the user interface of Emacs, which I don't really use. Okay, so okay, let's continue. Let's not get distracted. So continue the source code. So Helm buffer in new frame, Helm completion style, a list, associate list, Helm persistent action window buffer, completion flex no space. Okay, so that's a kind of a settings. So because otherwise space functions as a separator of words in user input, I believe. So how big is this file? Okay, 1700 lines. Okay, now let's search for define. So let's see. So there are list matching lines. There are 92 functions defined in this file. So let's look at them. Helm help. I actually never used Helm before. So another option is for me actually to kind of read up the Helm documentation for users to see if there is to have a solid knowledge about how you use Helm in general. I think I do know. Basically, you open a file, or you want to call any command, or you want to search string, Helm pops up two buffers. In a mini buffer is where you type, but Helm updates another buffer, which is the candidate. As you type, it narrows down the candidate. So I believe this is the general pattern of using Helm. So therefore, for the code, there must be some code that update the, so we are seeing, I believe, some of these variables. You see, for example, Helm sources is continuously updated as user types. That's a list of candidate, I believe. And then you have, Helm buffer is the interface buffer that contains the candidates. Yeah, because I believe so. I don't know for sure yet. Okay, so we have a lot to do. I can try to scan the Helm's user documentation just to get idea. Do that for a few minutes, and also try to look for if there's a documentation for Helm programmers. So that would be, if there exists, that would be good, because then I can, instead of guessing, I can know how Helm is done, the whole structure. Okay, helm-lib. We just continue with where I am, look at the source code. So let's keep looking at the source code. So helm-lib is still part of the Helm core, but not the essence of the core, I believe. Let's see, what is Helm window? Helm window, okay, window of Helm buffer. Okay, yeah, so in Emacs terminology, a window basically just a split pane. Exactly. So Helm window is the pane that shows the Helm's candidates. Okay, so this function Helm window get buffer window Helm buffer get. Okay, so it returns the Helm buffer, and Helm buffer is the candidates, list of candidates. So Helm action window of Helm action buffer. Okay, I don't know what that is. Okay, so these are a bunch of helper functions. So you also have Helm describe function, which is Helm's wrapper version of Emacs describe function. Let's try how that works. Okay, so let's call Helm describe function Oh, actually, so it's not a command. It's not a interactive command. It's a function only called by Helm. You cannot call it yourself. Okay. So I think, so far I have not turned helm mod on. So is there a command called helm mod? Yes. So if I turn it on, I never turned it on before, not yesterday or the day before. So if I turn it on, I presume what that means is that it's going to change all the typical Emacs commands, such as describe function or meta-x, execute extended command, and open file, find file. It will automatically create a wrapper or alias to those functions. So whenever you call those functions, you use Helm function command instead. So I suppose that's what. So before we turn on Helm mod, let's have a look at the doc string. So Helm mod is a auto-loaded interactive compile list function. Okay, it's bound to menu bar tool something. Okay, Helm mod optional. So do we have a menu bar? Let's see. Hold on. Shrink. Yes, we do. We have a menu bar. Help mod. No, you have to turn on Helm first. Okay, I think. So anyway, it's bound to this Helm mod toggle generic Helm completion, right? If called interactively, enable Helm mod. If argument is positive, blah blah blah. Yeah. All functions in Emacs that use completing read or read file name or completion in region and friends, and others will use Helm interface when this mod is turned on. Exactly. However, you can modify this behavior for function of your choice, blah, blah, blah. Okay, customization. Okay, so should I turn it on? So wait, there's something about I do mod. Do not enable I do everywhere when using Helm mod. Okay, instead of using I do mod, add the commands where you want to use I do to, okay. Okay, so okay. So Helm mod, if I turn it on, then everything is gonna be Helm. But I can turn it off, I think. Let's try to turn it on, okay? So let's just see what's going on with Helm. Let's turn on Helm mod so I can get some sort of user experience, and see how Helm, is used. Okay, turn on Helm mod. Now meta-x, let's see. Okay, now it's getting complex because I'm using stuff like keys, which has its own so it's not calling Helm. Let's call find file. Okay, let's call execute extended command. Okay, so this is the meta-x. Okay, do I need to explain that? Okay, because it's a bit confusing. Or actually, maybe I should just okay, so you see, I'm using stuff like keys. So when I press a key, which is actually A, it's cancel. Okay, cancel. Let me explain what's going on. So you see, when I press the key A, it will call the command xarfly meta-x, which will then call one of the version of meta-x. The default, first of all, execute extended mod. That's a command. That's a default GNU Emacs. Then you also have Helm meta-x. That's a Helm version. Then you also have SMEX, SMEX, which is another package. SMEX is a package as a replacement for meta-x. So it contains another fuzzy matching way. So currently, if I press A, it is actually using SMAX. I like this, I like the SMAX feature. iDo actually doesn't support MetaX. So when I press A, it's actually calling the SMAX version. But since I turned on Helm mod, I want to use the Helm's MetaX. So I have to call, I don't know if this works, execute extended command. Okay, let's try that. Okay, it's not using Helm's version. But let's try something else. Okay, so let's try find file. Okay, MetaX find file. Okay, that's a command to open a file. Okay, it's not calling Helm's version neither. So we know from this experimentation, we know that Helm is not actually creating an alias to these Emacs commands. So what is it doing? Probably it's just remapping the keystrokes. So for example, in Emacs, in GNU Emacs, to open a file is Control X, Control F. That is mapped, that's bound to find file. So now if I type Control X, Control F, it's probably bound to Helm find file. Probably. Let's try it, okay? Describe key, Control X, Control F. Okay, actually it's bound to iDo find file. So what's it's calling iDo's version. Yeah, because I have iDo on. Okay, so now remember Helm documentation said that you should turn off. Okay, wait, what? You should turn off iDo. It says do not enable iDo everywhere. Now, I don't know if I have that enabled or not. So let's describe variable to see if that's a variable. The value is nil. But however, I do have iDo mod on. I do have iDo mod on. So does that interfere with Helm? I don't know. Maybe. It does not mention it here. However, there's a possibility that it does interfere. So let's go to my settings and let's list matching lines. Let's see if I do have iDo everywhere. Okay, so here this section is my Emacs setting for iDo mod. So I turn it on, and so should I turn it off? Because I want to try the Helms without interference. So let's turn it off. Okay, let's call iDo mod. Okay, now it's disabled. Now let's call Helm mod to turn Helm on. Now let's describe key Control X, Control F. Okay, so it runs the command find file, which is GNU Emacs find file. So let's actually try it. Control X, Control F. Yeah, so it's not calling Helm's version. So what does Helm mod mean when it says, just use Helm's describe function? Oh, okay. So here is where Helm kicks in. When you describe function, when you call the command describe function, it calls the Helm's version. Okay, but how does it work? Let's see. So normally the key is Control H F. Okay. So now let's call describe key Control H F. Okay, so it says runs the command describe function. Okay, So let's do that. Control HF. Okay. There's something fishy going on. Okay. Cancel. Okay. So cancel. Okay. So when you say describe key and you type CHF, Emacs says that key runs the command describe function. But however, that's not true. I mean, when you call describe function, let's try it again. Describe function, okay. You see, this is a Helm's behavior, the Helm interface. This is not a GNU Emacs behavior. So somehow, somewhere, describe function, that command is actually calling Helm's version. And so I don't know how that is done, possibly by advice. So in Emacs, there's this thing called advice, where it lets you change behavior of a functional command. It's a little bit more complex way of changing things, which I don't like. I never use define advice, because it confuses things. Because right now we are running into this issue, the very issue. Because when I say describe key, Control H K, then I type Control H F, then Emacs tells me Control HF runs the command describe function. But actually, it's not, because I press Control HF. This is not the behavior of describe function. This is the behavior of Helm's version. Okay, let's do one more trick. Okay, Control HL. It will tell me all the commands I typed in the past. So you see, clearly I am calling describe function. But however, Helm somehow, by what mechanism I do not know, overrides it. Yeah, this is the reason I don't like this. I don't like this complex. I don't know how it's done. I don't know. It's not done by a simple mechanism. So what is a simple mechanism? A simple mechanism to do that, to launch Helm's version of things, is two ways. One is you change the key binding. So all Emacs key binding that's bound to describe function is automatically changed, remapped to Helm's version, a function name, Helm describe function. So this way is simple, because if user type, CHF, see what that is, you'll say, oh, it calls Helm describe function. But it's not doing that. The other way, simple way, is to do an alias. So basically, you create an alias of to describe function. So when people call describe function, it actually, the documentation will say actually it's calling it's an alias to Helm describe function. So this way is also simple, because you can query it, you'll see. But right now it's not doing anywhere. It's not doing. It's not remapping keys, nor is it an alias, and nor is it a advice, which is a way to change your function's behavior. Because if it is, you will see it in the documentation, but I'm not seeing it. So let's do it again, okay? Describe key, Control HF. You see, so here's what comes up. It does not mention alias. It does not mention advice, and it does not mention any change of key binding. It's so. So unless I'm missing something, there's some other simple way I don't understand. I don't like. I don't like these complex ways to achieve things. So what do we do now? Let's see, describe, let's search for yeah, you see it has, so let's search for describe, okay, in this helm-lib. List matching lines describe. So you do have, you see, Helm's version, helm describe function, helm describe variable function, helm describe class, helm describe function. Yeah, so you do have, so define custom. Okay, let's jump to it. Helm describe function, describe function. Okay, define custom. What is the second argument of describe function? Because you see describe function here. So let's describe function, define custom. Okay, let's see. Symbol and standard. Okay, yeah. Okay, okay, that doesn't matter. Okay, so define custom. So helm describe function is actually a variable whose value should be a function. Okay. Now where is this set? Advice function called helm describe function, helm describe function. Okay. So here is, wait, what? Okay, so here it is. So you do have a helm describe function. That's a function. You do have that, and then it calls helm describe function. Okay, it's going roundabout. Okay, I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just how Helm works, I guess. So far, I see the source code is pretty clear. Justin Scarfi, good morning. Good morning to mathematician. Are you a professor? Or maybe you are a professor already, right? At some University of Vancouver or something. My eyes, okay, I talked about this a million times. I have a little bit cross-eye, that's why I put this patch on, so easier for me to read the computer screen. So describe, so I'm stuck in this. So anyway, this is a side question about how Helm wraps around Emacs default functions. Okay, that's another different question. We are getting off track. So anyway, now back to the Helm structure. Okay, so we are looking at, so back to Helm structure. So Helm, so we looked at helm.el. We looked a little bit at helm-lib. Let's see Helm multi-match. Okay, let's open. Author Ruby Kitsch, original author. Okay, then theory Volpiato. Okay, so this guy who spent a lot of time, like full time, working on Helm. Yeah, because one time I read a announcement on Reddit or blog. He's saying that's really a lot of work, and this guy doesn't really do blogs or video interview. I think maybe there's a few. Yeah, I think there's a few, but he doesn't, like, he's not in public too much. So he's saying, which I don't agree, because every Emacs Lisp coder or user, once you use Emacs for a few years, you have your own way and you think it is the best way. So I use stuff like keys. Then there's Doom Emacs, there's Space Emacs, then there's Helm. Besides Helm, there's also, there's IDO, there's Helm, there's Ivy, a bunch of things, Ivy. So then there's Icicles. Icicles is one of the oldest. So each person have different ideas about which is the best interface or best way to operate Emacs. But I remember I read this guy says, he wants Helm to be he likes Helm, and he mentioned there's a lot work. He mentioned something about, it's gonna be 5 more years, something like that, until he find Helm to be perfect. So there's a lot of work, and I don't think he get paid sufficiently. So donate. That's a problem. One of the problem with open source. I don't know, because last time I read he's gonna stop working on it because he is too busy with life and real work where he gets money. But I don't remember if that's still the case or he went back to work on Helm. I forgot. So anyway, okay, a bit digression. So at this point, I think we should have a look at Helm's homepage, see what, so we get familiar what it is doing. So here is a Helm homepage. Helm, let's see. I think he's still the primary coder, I'm guessing. So we look at the commits, merge pull request. Okay, it's almost all is done by him, so he's stuck. He's stuck working on Helm. He's still very busy working on Helm, almost like every day. Lots of code. Looks like he's almost he's the only leader as opposed to having another guy, because all the commits are basically by him, managing the project, merging pull request, things like that. Okay, so today we already talked for 43 minutes. Okay, this is gonna be a long one. So we're gonna do 2 hours, maybe 2 hours. I kind of digressed, but anyway, I do need to look at Helm. So here's a Helm homepage. Helm homepage documentation. What is the documentation? Okay, these are PNG files. What? Yeah, PNG files. Okay. Okay, now let's go back. Now let's see all these Helm files, Helm tag, Helm type. Okay. So Helm has this icon. This is not a good icon because it fails the criteria of being simple, because the Helm icon is based on photograph. It should simplify into a actual symbolic icon. That's my offline suggestion to Helm people. This is not a good logo. So one way to fix that is to simplify symbolic, make this photograph symbolic. Okay. I believe this photo is from some kind of 3D movie, I think, about robots, or I think I forgot. Anyway, So Helm is an Emacs framework, framework for incremental completions and narrowing selections. It provides an easy-to-use API for developers wishing to build their own Helm applications in Emacs. Oh, okay. So it does have a API. Now, where can I read the documentation for that? Because that solves our problem. Okay, so it provides easy to use API for programmers and powerful search tools and dozens of already built-in commands providing completion to almost anything. Yeah, because the original name of Helm is anything. Okay, let me give you a bit history. The original name of the Helm package is just called anything.el. And that is inspired by a Mac program called Quicksilver. Okay, digression. Shit, I closed my browser by mistake. Okay, reopen. Okay, new window. So Quicksilver began sometimes in 2004. Okay, let me open that. And is there a Wikipedia? Power Mac. I want to show you. Okay, here. So you can see, yeah, this is the one. So Quicksilver began in 2003 or something. Okay, and that basically it provides an interface. As you type, things show up. The things can be an application to launch, can be your files that contains whatever you typed, can be your file name, or can be, like anything. So it changes. So this began on the Mac, third-party software, which was fantastic, one of greatest. It led a revolution in user interface across Mac, Linux, and Windows. So because of Quicksilver, then someone in Emacs developed anything.el, which is the father of Helm. Okay, because anything is too confusing, they changed the name. So Quicksilver is a granddaddy. And also in Linux, you started to have, Ubuntu started to have their user interface. I forgot what's it called. And also in Microsoft Windows, for example, I can just power, I can just type a few words and it pops up applications or file names or, containing that or any. So it revolutionized the kind of the user interface. Okay, that's a bit history. Okay, so so here's the Quicksilver homepage. Okay, now back to Helm. So it says it is a must-have for anyone using Emacs as a main work environment. That's his opinion. I actually do not like to rely on this kind of searching on the fly user interface for all my things. I don't like that actually, because I want precise control. For example, I want to go to the task manager, I press one key, task manager. If I want to go around the bars, the tabs, I press one key. Okay, I want to go to my PowerShell, I press one key. Tab Manager, PowerShell, or any browser, okay? You see, it's all one key operation. So I don't want to type, for example, I want to go to Firefox, I press one key. Wait, which key? This key, wait. Yeah, that key, okay? So for example, I'm in here, I want to go to Firefox, one key. Okay, I can show you my keyboard. Okay, let me show you my keyboard. Okay, now I have okay, it's hard to see, but anyway, task manager. This okay, I need to. Okay, so So this keyboard you are looking at, this one is Kinesis Advantage 2. You just search for Xadi Kinesis Advantage keyboard. You will find my reviews and video reviews. I recommend it. This is a linear switch. And this is ultimate hacking keyboard. So Task Manager, PowerShell, Firefox, that is Chrome. It disappears because I have actually 2 Chrome windows. Okay, so anyway, Chrome and Brave browser and Emacs. You see, one single key press. I don't need to type FIRE, to then I have to look, oh, is it Firefox? Then press enter. I don't need to do that. Okay, let's go back to OBS. Let's go back to so this is my a little bit philosophy or style about using the Helm interface. This type to search anything, to launch anything interface. I don't want that. So I disagree with the Helm's claim. This is a must-have. And similarly, in Emacs, I don't want to just start to type anything for files. So I have precise. I know exactly what I want. I want to go to my, for example, talk show page. 1, 2, 3, 3 keys. TALK. Okay, and this is bookmarks I've made myself. I don't want it to. If I start to type talk, I don't want it to search my whole drive and pop up all kind of files that contains the word talk. Okay, everything is tightly controlled. That's what I want. Bookmark or things or anything, and also commands. So the Helm's way. Different person have different preferences. Helm's way is not what I want. So anyway, so Helm is pretty good, but it's, for a lot, it's very useful. Okay. Different people have different, workflow. Helm has been widely adopted by many Emacs power users. That's true. It is available in Melpa and okay, great documentation. This, if you are a software developer, especially if you are a nerd, a hacker type, very technical, you dive into Linux or Emacs Lisp, you want your documentation to be like the Helm one. Very great, fantastic introduction. In one paragraph, you know what it does exactly, okay, and very well written. This cannot be said for vast majority of Emacs packages. Usually they are very nerdy. Like you read it, you have no idea what they're talking about. They don't give you the context or things like that. The Helm ones is excellent documentation. Okay, homepage download, get started. This is also fantastic. Homepage. Okay, homepage download, get started. Helm Wiki FAQ. So we need to read a few. Let's open homepage, and also this picture is fantastic. It gives people immediately an idea what this Helm is doing, the interface. While most Emacs project packages, they are like you don't know what they are, what they are, but they have full of jargons, to impress other hackers. Like that's typically the case. Anyway, I have digressed so much. I need to actually get back to the main point about finding out how the first imagine works in Helm. But okay, but we do need to look at the documentation. So this is part of the process of coding. And since I'm doing live talk show, I might as well tell you something interesting. Good morning, people, and greetings from Chile, Daniel Garrido. I think we talked before, right? Join Discord, guys, if you guys haven't. Okay, there's a Discord. Join there, and we can, so I can know you. You can, we can have fun chatting. Okay, back to Helm. Okay, let's go back to focus on Helm. So you have home page, open home page. Okay, home page. You have get started. Then you have Helm Wiki, open Helm FAQ. I want to read them all. Okay. So what is a home page? So what am I? Firefox Helm home page. Okay. Table of contents, intro, features, alternatives, requirements, getting started. Okay. Helm applications, recommended Helm extensions. Okay. Intro. Okay. Helm is a fork of anything.el. Oh, it's a fork, which was originally written by Tamas Petrovic. Okay. Yeah. Features. Okay. Alternatives. Okay. This is not historically true. It says there are several alternatives to Helm nowadays. They are all providing incremental completion, but they lack all the Helm features due to their wrong implementation, abusing mini buffer. Quite a damaging remark and dramatic. This is incorrect. It says there are several alternatives to Helm nowadays, implying that Helm is the first. No. Before Helm existed, there are quite a few. There are 3 or 4. Before Helm, even before anything. Okay, before anything. So Helm is derived from anything.el. Before anything, there is already I do. There's already not just I do. There's quite a few. I have an article on that. Okay, search for. Yeah, so there is I do, there is I complete, they are still in Emacs. Okay, there's also I switch. These are all far before Helm ever existed. 10 years before Helm existed. So this statement by Helm is, it's a bit, marketing, which is all right. Everyone does that. I don't have a complaint, but this is incorrect. There are several alternatives to Helm nowadays. No, there are several, existed before Helm. And then it claims they are all providing something abusing mini buffer. That's what a remark. No, you Helm is going way over engineered. I don't like Helm. Helm is, one of the actual common complaint about Helm is it's slow. Noticeably, if I call Smex, okay, Smex actually came before Helm, I think. Helm is by now, like, depending on whether you count anything.el, which is its father. If you count anything.el, then Helm is like 15 years old, something like that. Okay, but there, okay, I don't, maybe Smex come after Helm, after anything.el. Okay, so anyway, so back to reading the Helm documentation. I'm making some criticisms of my own, dramatic remarks of my own, just as he is doing it there. Marketing statements, requirements. Okay, getting started. Install from Straight. Okay, Straight is another newish thing. Not sanctioned by GNU Emacs, by the way. I want to mention that. Because they are good. Anyway, I'm starting to digress into kind of a rant. Let's go back to focusing on the code. Okay, so install just the Helm core package. Okay, Helm core, which we studied. Warning about alternate install methods, configuration, basic usage. Okay, basic usage. Helm MX. Okay, and important in any Helm session, as soon as there is candidates in the Helm buffer, CHM pops an org buffer with detailed documentation about current command. Okay, that's a useful feature. By the way, Emacs also does that. SMEX, not Emacs, SMEX. But the key is CHF, which is more standard with GNU Emacs. Okay, so use it with no moderation. Use these embedded info screens first before reporting bugs. Okay, so Helm mod to enable Helm completion for common Emacs commands. Note that the Helm functionality enabled through Helm mod comes from generic implementation and does not include all Helm features available through equivalent Helm specific commands. Okay, so that's that's a issue. That's a kind of a implementation issue or Emacs structural issue, because ideally one would like to turn on this mod, then you just have everything work using the Helm interface. But due to the way Emacs Lisp is, or Emacs structure, you don't have that. If you turn on Helm mod, it just gives you kind of some of that feature. If you want a fully integrated Helm experience, you need to download the Helm specific mods. Like that's why you see, if you look at the packages, there's tons of Helm packages. Okay, Helm mod. Okay, so advanced usage. Okay, Helm contains many features, some of which are easier to follow visually. Here's a demo of Helm buffer list. Okay, which uses Helm multi-occur, I guess. Demo start with eval start. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure where are we and where am I going with this. Okay, those questions, you watch my in many of my videos I talked about those issues, about things like why is Emacs not popular, why is Emacs Lisp not popular. I talked so many times about that in the past. Watch in the past few months. You can begin there. So here, okay, important matching methods. Helm support by default multi-pattern matching. Okay, it is the standard way of matching in Helm. Multi-pattern matching. Okay, for example, you can use patterns like full bar to match a line containing full and bar, or bar and full. Each pattern can be a regular expression. Okay, in addition, Helm supports fuzzy matching. Okay, I need to look at how it defines Helm, Helm's fuzzy matching capabilities. Helm's, this is what we want to do. Helm's built-in fuzzy matcher is activated for some commands. Helm's fuzzy matching is disabled by default. Okay, disabled by default. Currently, these commands support fuzzy matching. Okay, now I get it. So, by default, if you do not do any configuration, then if you call helm mx, it is actually not using fuzzy matching, okay? But rather, I'm not sure there's a term, it's using a kind of matching where it's word-based and order does not matter, okay? But Helm does support fuzzy matching, which is kind of more, I guess, complex. but you have to turn them on. So you can turn them on for recent F, for mini, for buffer list, for find files, for locale, for meta-x, for semantic. Yeah. So okay. Okay. So on this page, first imagine, it does not explain exactly what is the definition of first imagine used by Helm. Rather, it just gives you a list of Helm functions that does this kind of match. It doesn't actually explain or specify exactly what is the first imagine Helm is using. But that is what I want to know. I'm interested. That's what I want to know. I want to, I don't think there is a specific definition for first imagine, but rather it's just some kind of matching. Different programs have different ideas of first imagine. I don't think there's one universal definition of first imagine. Okay, but still, it's good to know. So the default way Helm matches when you call Helm MX is word matching, orderless word matching. Let's put it that way, orderless matching by words. Okay, and which is what I want. I want to try. I want that. So okay, so that gives us a clue in source code. So we remember we saw a lot of functions. So these matching lines, wait, what is this? So helm-lib, the file helm-lib, open it, called these matching lines, define, then search for match. Okay, only 3 occurrences. Search for, okay, it's not in this file. So go back to the directory, open the helm.el. Now list matching lines, define, then search for fuzzy. So you can see, so these are, you have 6 or 7 functions that does first imagine. So these functions implement the first imagine. But however, for my purposes, I do not need to look at them because I am interested first, at first I'm only interested in the word orderless word matching, not first imagine. Okay, now that reading the documentation clarified that part. Okay, so creating custom Helm sources. Okay, sources in Helm means like list of candidates. So it may be commands or file names or whatever. So you can create custom Helm sources. Okay, yeah, okay. So Helm applications. Okay, now it calls. Okay, now it now they help. This is another marketing term. Helm applications, which is basically a list of different Helm commands that does that uses Helm interface. They are not exactly, well, they are not apps, but they are applications. That where Helm is useful. So these are popular applications developed using Helm completion and narrowing framework. They are available for individual installs through the Emacs package manager. This list is not exhaustive. Okay. So are they saying these are not part of the Helm package? So let's say Helm find files. Okay, one command that handles all the files related command. Okay, so that no wonder. So let's see if that is built in. So describe function, paste Helm find files, enter. It's not there. Oh, okay. So okay, that's another thing I learned. When you install the Helm package, it does not actually contains a find file. Okay, that's interesting. I thought that's so fundamental. It's part of it. Wait, why does it not? What about this buffer list? Right. So, so Helm's buffers list is there, but Helm find files is not. That's wait. Control HF Helm find. Ah, God, this is slow. Ah, God, I have like a half a second delay. What's going on? Helm FIN. Yeah, this is why this is a practical issue with Helm. Great interface, but slow. So you have Helm find, but you don't have Helm find file. So what is Helm find? Helm find is a it's bound to something. Recursively find files whose name are matched by all specified grabbing patterns. It's slow because it's probably, I don't know where is it looking at my files. I hope it's not my whole disk. that's why I don't want this anything thing. Okay, so anyway, these are commands that uses Helm interface. Some of them are built-in, I guess. Some of them, are external packages you have to install. So then you have extensions, recommended Helm extensions. Normally, all Helm modules coming from Emacs Helm organization are safe to use. Otherwise, it is mentioned in their README if they are broken or unmaintained. Here are some of them I'm using, okay? Okay, so besides so-called Helm applications, then you have another level called Helm extensions. So I guess these are more exotic. So I'm supposing the differentiating line is that these Helm applications merely supply Helm by a source, while these Helm extensions are more involved, like Helm Firefox. Like what does it do, Helm Firefox? Emacs Helm interface to Firefox bookmarks. Oh, interesting. So it actually grabs the Firefox bookmarks, so you can open them in. Potentially, you can control Firefox launch bookmarks in Helm within Emacs. Okay. Yeah, so you have some of that. Then other Emacs extensions recommended with Helm. Okay, the external programs recommended with Helm, ripgrab, okay, known issues, okay. Contributors. So, the Helm documentation is superb. I want to make that comment, okay. The Helm documentation of all, let's say just within Emacs, of all Emacs packages documentation I've seen, is one of the best, let's say top 5. Superb, clarity, fantastic introduction, organization, clarity, detail. Well, we haven't looked at, I mean, I don't know about that yet, but superb, okay. Helm stock documentation and also the user interface, you can view on GitHub, download right away, and yeah. So Helm documentation, great job, Helm people. So then it says created by Helm is implemented by Helm, Emacs Helm team. So who are the Emacs Helm team? Okay, it doesn't really say people. Okay, these people are mostly contributors, I think. Okay, Li Wang, I recognize. Okay, now I don't know if they are actually a team or are they just major contributors. From what we've seen before, mostly just this guy, Theory, in the past month or so, it's all him. Okay, so it's actually members. Okay, so these are actually members. Okay, so if you want to join Helm, if you love Helm, join them. You probably start to contribute some code and join them. Okay, that's Helm. Okay, so I have finished reading the Helm homepage. Now, I mean, at least we have scanned it. Well, we basically finished reading them. Now, let's look at here's the Helm Wiki. Potentially, it should contain lots of miscellaneous information. Okay. Upgrade or recompile, configure, general concept. Okay, I want to read that. Quick try with Emacs Helm. Okay, general Helm commands and so on. Okay. Okay, so next, wiki. Why is the wiki repeated? Okay, so delete that. It's the same page. Okay, now frequently asked questions. Error with Helm adaptive mod. Error when running make. I installed Helm with straight and Emacs helm.sh is not working. Okay, that's a bad one. You shouldn't require people to run make, in my opinion. When you have a Emacs Lisp package, you should never require people to run make or shell script. Just let it be Emacs Lisp. Keep things simple so people don't have to install. Oh, I need to install make. Oh, which version? Oh, is it GNU make or BSD make? Especially on Windows, it's all more problem. Just use Emacs Lisp. That's the thing we are pushing. That's the thing we love. Make it all Emacs Lisp, even if that means you have to do a bit more work. That's my opinion. And especially shell, like don't make people run bash as a required step to install your package. Okay, so FAQ. Why does mailpar update give an error? Using prefix, okay, function, okay. This FAQ, we are not concerned. Okay, yeah, a bunch of small errors when running Helm stuff. Okay, next, okay, Quicksilver. Okay. So we finished reading the FAQ, well, kind of, and we finished reading, okay, the homepage of Helm. Then there's Helm Wiki. Now, where is the programmer's API for Helm? Must be somewhere. I'm getting tired. Let's see. Oh, Sid Ali, $5 USD. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Do you have a question, special question for me? Gaio Emacs when? Okay, I talked about that 1,000 times in my past videos. Okay. unless you are trolling me. So why Lisp never took off? Okay, again, I talked about that a million times. Do you reckon Windows is better? what kind of a bunch of trolling questions? I talked about that 1,000 times. Windows, which one should you use? Windows or Mac or Linux? I talked about that several times in Xa Talk Show. Just search it, you should find it. Okay, Bart says, okay, so something. How do you auto import modules in Emacs? How do you auto import? You call use package. Are you a newbie? Are you a new Emacs users? Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that today because today is, for what I'm doing today, it's more for people who already know Emacs Lisp. It's actually for, fairly advanced Emacs users who already know Emacs Lisp. I'm trying to find out about how Helm implements fuzzy matching. And in fact, I have discovered, just now we discovered fuzzy matching is not the thing we want to look for. We want to look for how Helm implements orderless word matching. And that's part of the default Helm, Helm MetaX. Okay, I have been talking for 1 hour and 20 minutes, basically. And I'm kind of tired. For the past hour, I've been rambling about Helm documentation anyway. So back to Emacs Lisp code. In order to really do this, I need to just do it myself. I cannot. I do need to take a break. Been sitting here, I need to take a walk. So we have not made progress. Well, we made some progress, but we are far away from the goal of understanding how Helm does orderless word matching. But we made some progress. Okay, let's write them down. Okay, close all these, close. Okay, so here is what we know so far. We have the Helm core stack. Helm MetaX calls Helm MetaX read extended command. Then that calls Helm function. Then that calls Helm internal. Then that calls Helm read from mini buffer and also probably setting up a bunch of patterns or candidates or sources, things like that. And basically that's it. And so in Helm, they use the word fuzzy matching to mean some sort of fuzzy matching. Okay. Now again, we have not found how it is defined. We want to find a documentation, possibly if there's one, how Helm defines fuzzy matching. I don't know yet. But we do know that, but the Helm meta X thing is actually not using Helm's fuzzy match, but let's call it orderless word-based matching. Okay, that's what we learned today. Okay, and the next thing to do, where is the doc for Helm API? So I thought we saw that mentioned somewhere, a documentation for API for programmers. API search. Okay, it's not here. Okay, go back to so go to the Helm for home page, search for, wait, what is this? This is a Helm home page. Search for API. Okay, so it's not here. Now go to this one. This is the Helm's documentation, I think. Search for API. Where does it occur? Oh, there. Wait, that's GitHub API. Oh, okay. So now, okay, actually this is the wiki. Now let's go to FAQ, search for API. Okay, not here. Let's open a new browser. Let's say Emacs Helm API. I hope I can find the Helm API documentation. If it exists, it would be fantastic. Not here, because we've already looked at here. Helm Web API. Okay, that's a different thing. That's not Emacs. Well, actually, it's probably related to Helm, but it's for other things. It's Kubernetes cluster to programmatically install Helm charts and expose them through a single public-facing IP. What the fuck is this font? elisp. Where to find Emacs Helm documentation? Let's see. Now that's a Stack Overflow question. Where to find Emacs Helm documentation? Yeah, Helm is a great. So this is written in 2018. Okay, still pretty good. Helm is a great framework. Okay, but provided no instruction on how to do. So this page advises user to update extension. Okay, Helm Wiki doesn't provide any helpful information on writing extensions using Helm framework. Okay, this is a question we want. It's not even user editable, containing grammatical errors. If that no one fixes or pull requests are not accepted, which I find really unwelcome. Okay, so this is this guy Nguyen Yen, probably a Vietnamese. He's rather criticizing Helm. So he is looking for Helm's API documentation for programmers, just like I am. Okay, so he says, I've been extensively using Helm recently and like it a lot. And I want to write a cheat sheet to serve my workflow better. So my questions are, is the outdated anything documentation applicable to Helm? Okay, is there any useful documentation about Helm which explains how it works and how to write extension using it? Yes, I want to know that. I've been Googling for a while, but I couldn't find anything. Okay. So let's see if there's answer. There's no answer, but you have a bunch of comments. As far as writing a new extension for Helm, I would recommend the 16-minute video. Okay, a very good tutorial was written by John Kitchen. Okay, I know that guy, John Kitchen. We met face to face. He came to my place one day. Great. He's a professor of chemistry, I think material science, at Carnegie Mellon, one of the famous university, and he wrote a Emacs distribution called Emacs or something. It's for basically for academics, for professors, or for research, for researchers to write academic papers. So you can, John Kitchen. So just search for his name, John Kitchen Emacs. It's a very big, useful, package. So anyway, so let's see. So John Kitchen. So a very good tutorial was written by John Kitchen. Okay. So here, how to write Helm extensions. Okay. And the documentation was initiated thanks to John Kitchen's article on his blog. Okay, so he has an article. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to, so this is written in 2015. I suppose it's still good. I'm going to read this. Okay, this is great resource. And then I guess this wiki, Emacs Wiki Emacs version is kind of more cleaned up or general. Okay, so I'm going to read this. Okay, they are updated, 2015. I think Wiki Emacs is kind of dead. Nobody's actually using it. But anyway, so here's one thing to read, and here is another. Okay. First of the 3 original post blog. Okay, so he introduces. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna read that John Kitchen's documentation. So, and also then the Vietnamese guy complained, 2014? He says, what's going on? The documentation is badly written. Okay, he's referring to some other documentation, not the one by John Kitchen. Okay, so what about the wiki? So I need to explore more about wiki. Yeah, okay, developing. I should, yeah. So there is, okay, there is developing and there's first imagining. Okay, so here is the documentation. Yeah, so let's look at developing, introduction, creating a Helm buffer, Helm attributes, customizing action list, creating a source, creating a class, writing actions. Okay, developing with Helm framework, fantastic. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna have to spend a few hours. God, I didn't expect it to be this big of framework. So I'm actually getting into the Helm framework and APIs. Then there's the first imagine. Yeah, okay, it doesn't, we've seen this before, it doesn't define what exactly is their first imagine. It just lists a bunch of functions that does it. Okay, but okay, so that's it. So judging from these kind of short, basically that's all you get. That's all I get. That's basically all I get, the useful information. I don't think there's much more on the wiki. So okay, so at this point I just gonna dive into source code, and I don't think I'm going to create another part for this series of videos of exploring Helm source code, because it's not gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be for people who already know Lisp. So I think that's it for today. Okay, that's it for today. Let me just mention, so if you like my stuff, go by my Emacs tutorial. Okay, so I have a Emacs Lisp tutorial that contains also I did several videos by now that teaches you Emacs Lisp. So you can learn Emacs Lisp from the ground up, the most practical way. You can learn it quickly in a week or two. You can become fairly self-sufficient in coding Emacs Lisp. Okay, so buy it or PayPal me, but you can buy it, here, the link, or you can PayPal me or Patreon. Thank you. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you, guys. I'm gonna shut down in 1 minute. Okay, so alpha beta, you started to use Emacs yesterday, yeah. So congratulations, you have a long way to go. Indeed, I mean, it'll be fun exploration. You can launch Emacs and it'll be already useful. But if then you might explore, you want some better ways. You as you go, whatever I don't know if you are a student or if you are already a coder or a researcher or whatever, you can customize Emacs to make it better for your needs. And that is kind of a journey. Some people say it's a lifestyle. So I've been using Emacs for 20 years. So you just go, it becomes also part of that is a code. You welcome to the Emacs code or Emacs church, as Richard Stallman would say. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Sid Ali. Bye, guys.